This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Monday edition of the afternoon show here live, of course, on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. We go live each and every single week, 2 o'clock Eastern, around that time, give or take, talking to you about the latest sports news of the day over the weekend. That's what we're doing here today. Joining me today is going to be Jay McLovin. Jay, how's it going, man? Hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah. Honestly, Logan, it was a great weekend. In terms of baseball, it was a little roller coaster-ish for the Astros because, we took over first place and then we lost first place the next day because it's only a half game difference. So I was riding high and then I was riding low. So we'll see if we win today and Mariners lose, then I guess I'll be riding another high and we'll be jumped back into first place. But I got to tell you, the other day when the Astros lost to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, I think we lost 13-3 or something like that. That was interesting. There was actually 3 really bad games. Houston was one of them. Philadelphia lost like 16-6 or something like that. And then the Yankees got blown out by the Dodgers. So, the other day was a very incredible day for baseball, given the amount of blowouts that occurred.
Yeah, and that's just how it can go sometimes, man. Some games are, neck and neck, and some are just, it's over by a certain inning, just depending on how it goes. But, since we're talking about baseball here, and also before we get into it, guys, if you enjoy the show, like, comment, share, and subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere else you can think of, you can find us. Best way to do that, though, in our link tree, in the description, all of our channels there. Click on it, watch our shows every day, watch the rest of the network shows, great shows about just other entertainment, pop culture news, as well as all the goodies related to sports and all of their individual just accolades and whatnot. But, Jay, we're talking baseball first and foremost, and you mentioned the Mariners, so we'll start off with them. The Mariners are set to retire Randy Johnson, his number 51, in the 2026 season, so not this year, but next year. They made the announcement today, which is the 35th anniversary of when Johnson threw the first no-hitter in Mariners history. And Jay, you know Randy very well. He played for the Astros for a little bit. He got traded at the deadline to Seattle in that trade. And also, too, interesting kind of thing about this, Jay, is that the Mariners are now going to have 2 number 51s retired because, as we know, Ichiro is going to have his number retired in early August. So there's going to be a number 51 for Ichiro Suzuki and number 51 for Randy Johnson. I felt like this was a long time coming, right? I'm surprised it took this long for Seattle to finally crack and retire Randy's number. Well, not even his number, just induct him into their Hall of Fame, basically. But when I think of Randy Johnson, he played for a lot of great teams. He's a Hall of Famer, obviously. He pitched for a very long time. People forget he pitched till like the late 2010 or the late 2000s, early 2010s, I believe. So I think he retired right before the Giants kind of dynasty took off, right when they won the championships every other season. He retired right before that. But he pitched for a long time, over 3,000 strikeouts, and one of the most intimidating pitchers, just because he looks so tall and lanky. And when he throws, 95 plus to your head or just through the strike zone, it's a horrifying thing to see. And a lot of batters are glad he retired and glad that it's going to be kind of getting that stamp of approval now in Seattle with them retiring him up there on the Wall of Fame. But Chad, what are your thoughts, though, on Randy Johnson going in there with Ichiro, who's going to be going? Ichiro's this year, Randy's going to be next year. So be a cool thing for Mariners fans.
Yeah, when we're talking about the big unit, we're talking about a guy that's 6'10" and like Bo, Bo Crouch. He's another podcaster out of Seattle. He was saying today, it's like when Randy Johnson would throw the ball. It was almost like he would just hand the ball to the catcher from the mound. That's how tall this guy was. I mean, just a specimen. I mean, it's 6'10", right? I mean, that's a specimen. What do I think about it? I think it's a shame it took this damn long to retire him. The guy retired from baseball in 2009.
Yeah.
Why is it now 2025 and we're talking about retiring his number, given all the things he's done for the city of Seattle and baseball and things of that nature? I just don't understand. Now we're talking about Ichiro getting next year. Well, hell, last time I checked, Ichiro hasn't been out of the game nearly as long as what the big unit is. So why is he getting his damn jersey retired at a much quicker rate to what Randy got retired? That makes no sense to me. But at the end of the day, I am glad because he is very well deserved of this. The only thing I'm saying is it should have been done a long time. It should have been done probably around the 2015 to 2017, somewhere in that time frame. I felt like they should have retired that man's number. I don't know. What was he said? Ichiro. Was he also number 51? He said, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they wore the same number.
Yeah, Ichiro should have never had that number. It should have been somebody else. Ichiro should have been like 50 or 49 or whatever number he would have picked, but he should have never been given Randy Johnson's number. That man's number should have been up in them Raptors before Ichiro even came to that damn team. And I don't know what year Ichiro came in. I don't remember what year he came in.
Ichiro came in 01, so not very long.
So he came in 01.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Johnson,
man.
I think Johnson left in 2000 or 2001. So I mean, it was like they just missed each other. Is what it was.
Yeah, literally. But I feel like what he did for Seattle, they really should have not given out that number. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they should have did you know what I'm saying? I just feel like I'm saying like
maybe like 2020 hindsight, right? Now that we look back at it all these years later, but at the time, maybe Seattle was just along the lines of, okay, he's went to another team now. You know what I mean? Let's kind of not rewrite his name or whatever, but to me, when you think of 51 at the time, you thought of Randy Johnson. He won your Cy Youngs, no hitters,
right.
Everything else you could think of. And for I don't know the reason, but Ichiro, he won 51. And obviously, the management had no issues with it. Maybe Ichiro wore that in Japan. I'm not sure, but at the time, I mean, obviously at the time they felt that it wasn't an issue, and now they get, I guess, the distinct. Well, I'm sure it's happened before, where two guys wore the same number. But it's just kind of weird to me, though, that both these guys played in kind of the same era in a way.
Right.
They overlapped each other, and they both wore the same number. They both had great success with this team, as well as obviously the rest of their careers. But it's just kind of interesting, though. But Jamie,
you gotta remember, though, Randy Johnson, his career actually started in 1988, I believe it was.
That was with Montreal.
1988 is when his career started, and it ended in 09. So this man's been in the game for
over 20
a very long period of time. Yeah, I think 22 years, if I'm not mistaken, is how many seasons he did. I don't know the exact number of years he played with Arizona. It seems like he was with Arizona at least half, or not more than half of that time period. I know he played with Arizona. And I believe he also got a ring with Arizona, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they won it in 01 against New York.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at some point if Arizona, if they haven't already, retire his number in Arizona. You would think that they would.
I believe they have. I mean, because Arizona, obviously, it hasn't been around as long as Seattle. I mean, Seattle's been around for quite some time. The Diamondbacks were, a fairly fresh franchise. I mean, the Diamondbacks weren't even around when Randy started his career.
Right.
They came in they were one of the last expansion teams in the late 90s with Tampa Bay also. So, I mean, they were kind of late to the party, but they won that championship early on. Okay, yeah, so Jay, the Diamondbacks did okay, so you said it's interesting, right? You said 2015 is when they should have retired his number in Seattle. They retired Randy Johnson's number 51 got retired in Arizona in 2015.
Wow, what's the coincidence of that happened?
But still, though, what made him wait 10 more years, though?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. What's interesting to me is when you look at his career, he actually was drafted by Washington in '88, played for Seattle in '89. played for Washington in 89, and then came back to Seattle in 90.
Mm.
And
he was there for a while.
Came back to them in 90, and he didn't leave Seattle again until 1998, and that's when he played with Houston. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, in 99, he went to Arizona, stayed there till 04. And then from 05 to 06, we went to the Yankees, then back to Arizona for 07, 08, and then ultimately retired out with the Giants in 09. But you would think, I mean, he was with Seattle for a good 10 years?
Yeah, 8 or so years. So.
I just don't know why they didn't retire. I feel like they should have retired his number sooner. Yeah, you know.
I mean,
yeah. But again, it's like Lawrence Taylor said. Lawrence Taylor, when Carter asked him, "Hey, can I wear your number?" And he said, "No, get your own number, young buck. Make your own legacy." I feel like that's what Ichiro should have done. Ichiro should have known that he's taking over the big units 51. Do you really want to share a legacy with a big unit? No, go out and create your own legacy. Have your own number. That's what I feel about that. I guess maybe that's the way I feel about that situation. I just feel like it's weird they're going to put 2 51s in Seattle, one for Ichiro and then one for the unit. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's gonna be interesting. But he said, I'm just kind of doing a quick Google search here, Jay, and it says that, okay, Ichiro did wear number 51 in Japan. He also says that whatever. Ichiro also reportedly sent Johnson a message promising him not to bring shame to the number. I don't think he did. I think he did it. No, he did it really well. So. Interesting little footnote there. But Jen, let's go to a team that is not going to be retiring numbers anytime soon. The worst team in baseball, once again, the Colorado Rockies. Once again, they're now the third fastest team in MLB history to reach 50 losses. Jay, they have not won a series this year. We are nearly 60 games in. They have not won 2 out of 3 games in a series, or 3 out of 4 for that matter. Yeah. They've been swept 10 times in 20 series, which is tied for the most with 3 teams. Also, like I said, third fastest to get to the 50 loss mark, behind the 1884 Kansas City Unions and the 1876 Cincinnati Red Stockings. Wow, that is awful. Also, with just one more win, Jim, they'll be just the second team to have 50 losses when they record their 10th win. Also with that 1876 Red Stockings team. I mean, Jay, we're going back to the 1800s. Yeah. You know you're doing bad when you have to go back to the 1800s to where you're going with how bad this team is. We're not doing a deep dive like we did the other week where we went in, looked at who all was on their roster and everything like that. At this point, what's the point? Jay, they're not going to make the playoffs. I can guarantee, lock that in at this moment. They'll probably be eliminated by July. I'm seeing here they haven't held a lead at the end of consecutive innings since they led the final 4 innings of their most recent win. Sorry, Frankie, a 3-2 win over the Yankees back on May 23rd, which was last week. I mean, this is just an awful team. What do you do? I mean, you've lost all the series you've played in this year, which is 19. You've been outscored by 185 runs at this point. And you're the first team in modern era to lose 20 of their first 31 road games. They have a 3-game set against the Miami Marlins on the road starting today. So we'll see if they can get win number 10, Jay. We'll start the tracker alert on this team.
Oh, yeah.
Jay, 9-59. Look, we go through rough stretches, right? Hell, your team went through an awful stretch for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't this bad. Yeah, y'all would lose 110 games or something, but at least you'd win at least 50. I mean, and it wasn't nearly this bad where you lose nearly 60 games right before, right at June, basically. I mean, this is a whole new. We thought it couldn't get any worse than the White Sox that we beat up on last year. Rightfully so. They were not good. They're doing actually not awful. They're not great, but they're almost at 500 last I checked. Right around that potentially. So they for Colorado, man, it's insane if you go and just look at their numbers. If you want to get entertained, if you want to feel better about your team and how they're doing, just go check out the Rockies' stats on pitching, fielding, hitting, even probably how they probably poorly stacked the sunflower seeds, Jay. They probably put the wrong Kool-Aid or the wrong Gatorade in there. I mean, it's just bad. It is bad. So yeah, 9-50 on the season, Jay. A whopping 6 wins at home, 3 on the road. Losers of 8 in a row, which I think is like their 3rd or 4th time having an 8-game losing streak, which is insane to say. And also, let me clarify something. Chicago is not nearly at 500, but they are doing better than last season. 18-41 is their mark on this year. So they are I believe, the 2nd worst team in baseball, Jay, but by a large margin, surprisingly. Your thoughts on Colorado this week as they hit yet another low?
It's yeah. I was thinking earlier today when I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was, I bet last year's White Sox team, or even the year before that White Sox team, the one that didn't get into double digits and lost, they must have thought, man, we're the worst team ever. And then comes the Colorado Rockies. Now they're probably saying to themselves, thank God somebody's worse than us. And now somebody else can carry that guilt of shame around forever. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the White Sox must be feeling really good about themselves right now, given what the Colorado Rockies have gone through. And again, they don't really have a bullpen. They don't really have a closer. They don't really have a lot of things that it takes to close out games or even win games from a pitching standpoint. So you kind of understand why they're so bad. I remember, like you said, when the Astros were tanking, even when they went down to they got rid of every single person for draft picks, and they went to the exact bottom of the barrel. Even then, we weren't as bad as Chicago White Sox or, the Colorado Rockies, and we got rid of everybody. That just shows you how bad Colorado is. That even when they're trying, they still suck. Bad. It's like, at what point does Colorado, even at what point does the White Sox start making management decisions, making management changes, and start redoing? And I don't mean at the coaching level, I mean at the GM level. Like, at what point do they start saying, man, we got to do something different because what we're doing right now is just trash?
Well, I know Colorado got rid of Bud Black earlier in the season, right? He'd been there forever. I mean, he's their, you arguably say their best head coach in their history. But I'm not sure off the top of my head who the replacement coach is for the rest of the year. But, I mean, at some point, if you're the owner, if you care about this team, if you care about the fans, if you care about the players, you got to fire the GM, right? I mean, I feel like that's just it's a ticking time bomb. Because, I mean, I know the White Sox cleaned house, right? They got rid of, felt like everyone, from the social media guy up. And, I mean, I feel like Colorado's in a way due for that because, no, you're doing worse than the team who was the worst of all time in however long last year. You're on a worse pace than that. But, I mean, unfortunately, and it's sad to say, Jay, look, I mean, the Rockies have not historically been a good franchise. We know this. I mean, they made the World Series one time, I believe, right? One time in, I think it was 2007. And that was when they lost to, I think it was Boston. They lost to Boston in 2007. I mean, other than that, they've made a wild card here and there. Jay, they've never won the West. I know that much. They've never won the NL West in their entire 30-plus year franchise history, which is crazy to do.
Right.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do. I mean, they've had some good players over the years, right? But, I mean, you got to go back 10-plus years. You got to go back to Todd Helton or Matt Holliday or anything like that. They're pitching. They've never had, like, a lights-out pitcher. I think maybe Houston Street was their closer for a while there. I think was pretty good in, like, the early 2000s, which at this point, 10, 15 years ago now.
Right.
But, yeah, they had, their best player recently was Arenado, who they got rid of. They had Chris Bryant over there, who had a nice run in Chicago, but that was years before. This 10 years ago almost. So yeah, it's just it's a struggle over there right now, and we'll continue to highlight the lowlights of Colorado as the season moves on here. As we just started June, and also Frankie chimed in and said, "Hey, We lost the series, but guess what? The Yankees are undefeated versus the Dodgers in the month of June, as it is currently June 2nd right now. So, like I said, Frankie and
Yeah,
them with
Frankie,
the nice.
your boys got put on blast. I think we now know the Yankees may not just be the Yankees that maybe Frankie wants them to be in terms of World Series contenders, in terms of winning the World Series. I mean, the Dodgers are just beating the brakes off them, and the Dodgers got a lot of injuries and are still beating the brakes off the Yankees.
The Dodgers aren't even fully healthy, which is kind of scary. You know what I mean? They're not. They haven't really been fully healthy kind of all year. So that's we'll see how they do when they heal up. Jay, we're gonna go over to the basketball court. We're not talking about the finals yet. We're gonna wait because that's a little bit later in the week. We don't want to give away everything yet, but just we're seeing right now a bunch of front office moves or stuff like that. You hear a lot of rumors. And the Utah Jazz, they have hired Austin Ainge. You might wonder, Ainge, where have I heard that from? Well, he is the son of team CEO and alternate governor Danny Ainge over at the Boston Celtics. So Austin Ainge is going to be the president of basketball operations. It was announced earlier today. Utah's GM Justin Zanuck, he will remain in his role once Ainge arrives. And they envision the two of them complementing each other in day-to-day front office operations with, quote, separate and unique skill sets to help evaluate our departments, end quote. That was from team governor Ryan Smith telling ESPN earlier today. So with Austin, he has been in the league for 17 years with Boston and is now leaving after, they got championship last year. Helped build that franchise back to what it was. It's one of the best well-known franchises in the NBA. Obviously, you're a historic franchise. You win a lot. You have great players, all that. You have a lot of merchandise. But Utah, Jay, look, Utah's been in kind of a rough patch here the last couple of years, but you can see they're trying to build something. You hire Ainge away from Boston, hoping to help fasten the rebuild of the team. And just a couple of weeks ago, remember they locked up their head coach Will Hardy through the 2031 season. So they've committed to the coach, Jay. Now they're shoring up the front office, which is nice and everything, but it's really all about the players you get on the court and if they can kind of mesh together. So what are your thoughts here on Austin Ainge heading over to Utah for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, he joins up with his dad. They just locked up the coach Hardy till 2031. I think this really does solidify a really good front office. I think you get a good coach to continue to build, this Utah team that is obviously, kind of gone by the wayside, after they let go of Gobert and Donovan Mitchell and company. Now they're really trying to fortify themselves back, into prominence. And I always say, if you get that front office squared away and you get that coach squared away, well, now the coach and that front office can then turn their attention to getting that roster where the roster needs to be. So I like the way they're building this program. I like the way they're building, their infrastructure going forward. And I think it's going to pay off. Now, it's going to be a process. It's going to be a little bit of way because they got to draft players, bring in players, things like that. But I do feel like that they have the cornerstone pieces in that front office and coach that they can actually bring in the type of talent at a cohesive level, that they're looking for, right? So it's going to be, and we all know that Danny Ainge can build a team. We saw him do it with the Celtics, and I think we'll see him and his son do it again in Utah. So I give it, maybe 3 or 4 years. And I think, we'll be talking about Utah and some conversations in terms of the playoffs. Give it about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, so you got to give it time. And, we're going to see how Austin can do over in Utah with Will Hardy and the rest of the guys that got over there. They have some good pieces, right? But it's a young team. Still just trying to get the chemistry right and get everything kind of where it needs to be for the upcoming season. And, for the future, obviously, with a team like this.
Oh, yeah.
So Jay, in football news, some interesting stuff has came out the last couple of days. We're just kind of going to highlight a few of them here. Also, let's just say congratulations, Saquon Barkley. He's going to be on the cover of Madden 26. It's going to be a photo of him. Remember him doing that backwards hurdle this year, Jay? That's what the cover is going to be. So pretty nice there. Good for him. Hopefully it does not lead to, of course, the Madden curse we always hear about, where you go on the cover and you get hurt or you have a poor season. We'll see if that curse strikes again. Hopefully not for Philadelphia and for Saquon. Also, Joe, what's going on, man? Hope you're having a good day on this Monday. Also, Jay, in the NFL, we're going to talk injuries here, or should I say undisclosed injuries. Kyle Pitts, tight end, of course, with the Atlanta Falcons, says, team says he's dealing with an undisclosed injury. What it is, we don't know. I mean, it could be his arm, could be his leg, could be his hip, could be a pinky toe. No one knows what it is. He's just hurt. Jay, riddle me this. How come they're not telling us what it is? How come the team or whoever isn't saying, oh, yeah, he's got a right calf sprain, or, he stubbed his toe? What's the reasoning here?
Yeah, first off, I want to go back to what you were saying about Barkley. Yeah, if I had just come off of blown out knees earlier in my career and finally got it, a Super Bowl victory, I'm probably going to avoid the Madden cover at all costs because, let's be honest, I don't want that type of curse in my life. However, in a comma, I will regress. And let's talk about Kyle Pitts for a minute. So there's a couple of things that comes to my mind. Number one, this has got to be somewhat of a serious injury because if it was anything minor, just something silly that you can get over super quick, whatever, won't affect your training camp. Maybe it affects your OTAs, but it doesn't affect your training camp. It doesn't affect your season, things like that. That's the first issue or concern that I have is the severity of this undisclosed injury. I think it's got to be something of a sincere nature, or it would be not a big deal. Secondly, is you got to imagine that they're looking to move on from Kyle Pitts and trade Kyle Pitts, because why would it matter if you disclose the injury or not? If you're planning on keeping him, it's not really going to have a bearing on anything. So it tells me two things. Number one, that they are looking to move on from Kyle Pitts. They are looking to trade Kyle Pitts. They don't want teams knowing his injury or the severity of that injury, even though he must think it must be something severe. Otherwise, if it wasn't severe, then it wouldn't affect a trade, and then it'd be a non-issue. So I think there's two big things there. I think one is severe, and I think two, they're trying to keep it disclosed so it doesn't hurt his trade value if and when they decide to move on from him. So I don't know what it is, Logan, but whatever it is, it's something of a significant nature.
And look, here's the thing. He's in the last year of his rookie contract. They exercised the option. Atlanta said, all right, we'll give you one more chance here. Because, they had the option to decline it. They said, we're giving you one more shot, right? He's not getting a contract, obviously, before the season. He hasn't really earned it. He is a Pro Bowler, right, a couple of years ago, but it's not more so what you were years ago. It's what have you done for me recently? And for Kyle Pitts recently, he's 24. Last year, he had 47 catches for 602 yards and 4 touchdown catches last year as their top tight end. But everyone knows, kind of since that initial 2021 season, his stuff went down, whether it be catches or yards, or he's never really been a touchdown machine. Hell, Atlanta really has anyone to throw him the ball. Right. It's just it hasn't worked out for one way or another for touchdowns. Also, Joe says, wouldn't teams give him a physical before trading for him? Of course they would. But for whatever reason, Atlanta's choosing to not disclose what is the problem with him. Like Jay said, it could be serious. But this is a big season for him. I was telling Jay beforehand that either they're going to trade him now, they're going to trade him, middle of the season, or they'll just let him walk at the end of the year if he doesn't do good. Or you re-sign him to a very team-friendly deal, right? Unless he just has some monster 25, 26 season, with Kyle Pitts as with Michael Penix as their star QB. Now that's finally been figured out. Because Kyle's also had a litany of quarterbacks throughout his tenure. I think it was Matt Ryan when he first started, and then it went to Marcus Mariota and a bunch of other guys in there, and of course Desmond Ridder, who could forget him, and then last year the insane show of just Kirk Cousins and of course Michael Penix. Now it's going to be Penix for the season. We know that. That's all signs point to that. While they try to either cut Kirk Cousins or trade him, or I don't know what they're going to do. But that's another topic for another day. But for now, Kyle Pitts dealing with some type of injury. What it is, we'll find out one day. Just not today. Not today.
One more thing real quick. In reference to Joe's question, my theory is this. If they haven't decided 100% they're going to move on, which I think is why it's undisclosed, they want to leave it as undisclosed so it gives the option to move him to a trade partner without that injury being an issue, right? Or having it being disclosed or coming up with things. I think another part of the reason why it's undisclosed is if they do move on from him, maybe they have enough time. If it's not as serious of an injury, in other words, if it can be healed up on its own and not require surgery, things of that nature, then maybe that by the time they get it to the trade part of it, if that injury has healed itself, when they go off to see the doctor or whatever team has traded them, they don't want that injury being known about. And I believe it's because they think like, well, you know what? If we don't say anything about it, they'll go through the protocol. And if the doctor doesn't catch whatever that issue was, then it's just going to, like, they don't want to put no wrinkles in a trade, right? They don't want to highlight things for the doctor to look to zero in on. So I think that's another reason why you keep it undisclosed. It's just all about, them holding the cards and not having anybody else knowing what those cards are, unless it just has to be that way. And I think as long as they can control them not knowing about it, especially if he's on the trade block, the better off they are.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with Kyle this upcoming season, and hopefully he's healthy, right? Hopefully whatever he's dealing with, he gets back on the field. But if he gets traded, we're not gonna be surprised at all. We're not gonna be surprised, me and JR. Speaking of receivers, Jay, guys who catch passes for a living. Hey, Stephon Diggs showed up, Jay. Frankie, if you're here, buddy, he showed up to the team OTAs. He was present for the voluntary organized team activities today after he was absent last week and made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Him just on a boat and living it up, right? And talking to some women. His girlfriend there, who is, world-renowned pop star Cardi B, and they were just having a good time on a boat. And then at some point, there was a video came out, Jay, with him with some baggie of some pink substance, whatever it may be. We don't know. Head coach Mike Vrabel said basically they're going to handle it behind private doors, behind closed doors. Now, I'm sure we can't repeat 98% of what was said. If we think we know Mike Vrabel with how he controls the team, how he coaches teams. Probably a lot of 4-letter, 5-letter words there, a lot of coins going into that swear jar at that time. But Diggs, as we know, signed a 3-year, $69 million contract with the club, and obviously is expected to be their number one target. And let's also not forget this, Jake, 'cause I feel like people are not touching on this still. He is coming back from a torn ACL he had last year in Week 8 while he was with the Houston Texans. So Jay, he showed up. He greeted the media today, and he said, "It's nice to see you all." Well, it's nice to see him too, Jay.
Yeah,
it's nice to see him too.
That tells me that whatever was in that pink substance, it tells me one of two things: either A, it wasn't anything of a serious illegal nature, or B, if it was of an illegal nature, he didn't ingest it. Because you got to believe 110% that the team obviously knows that there was a pink substance. So when that dude checks into the facility, the first thing they're doing is, Stephon, here's the cup, Bubba. We'll meet you when you come out.
Yep.
Go ahead and get us a sample because you know it's coming. Because what would be the point of putting you through training camp if you're having illegal substance in your body? Because you got to imagine, not only are we seeing it, but the NFL governing body is seeing it. And you don't think that they're going to want a drug test on that? I'm just saying. So I would imagine the Patriots would probably want to beat the NFL to the punch and give him that drug test. And if he passes it, okay, we're good. See you on the field, killer. So you got to think that he didn't ingest it or something of that, or it wasn't an illegal substance, because he obviously is at OTAs and nothing bad came out of it. They didn't kick him out. They didn't fire him. They did nothing. He's just out there living his best life. So that tells me that whatever it was in that pink substance, it wasn't anything that was going to affect him, apparently.
Yeah. So we'll see. Well, I mean, looks like everything's all in the clear now, right? We can drop it because there hasn't been anything came out yet. If anything does, so obviously if there's any updates.
Any investigations on it either launched. I don't think anybody's done
anything. No, I think it's just going to be a lot of questions but no answers type of deal, is what I'm getting from this. But we'll kind of cap off our football talk here, and then we'll talk some college baseball to end the show. Sad news in a way for Detroit Lions fans, fan favorite and center Frank Ragnow announced, Jay, that he is calling it a career. He is retiring from the league. Played 7 seasons and was a 4-time Pro Bowler, all in all. It seems like he was just an absolute warrior. In 2021, Jay, he played with a fractured throat. He got a 4-year, $54 million contract extension after that season, in the league's highest paid center. He's only 29, right? He played in 16 games last year. He missed a Week 4 game in Seattle with a partially torn pectoral muscle. He then did not miss a start after that and was named to the Pro Bowl for his 3rd straight year. First-round pick by Detroit back in 2018. Second team All-Pro honors in 20, 23, and 24. First Pro Bowl in 20. And he played 96 career games, all those being start. So now what that means, Jay, is it's a guy who dealt with a lot of injuries and basically just said, my body can't take this beating anymore. In 21, he missed 13 games. And what he's called the most severe degree of turf toe. He also had a separate injury to that same toe early in 22, which he said was just a tough point of that. And as mentioned, the fractured throat also back in 21. So a guy that's just kind of taken a beating, but did a good career out of it. Made some money, like I said, got to the Pro Bowl, and seemed to be well respected, well liked in that Lions locker room. But sad to see him go if you're a Detroit fan. But it looks like for now, they are going to go with rookie Tate Ratledge out of the University of Georgia as their go-to center now, 2nd-round pick this year. He's 24 and he played guard in college, but he has been taking first-team reps at center for the Lions during OTA. So all signs point to him being the center for the 25 season for Detroit. But Frank Ragnow, good career, right? Like I said,
Glasgow would be the center, right?
Sorry, what was that?
Is it Graham Glasgow? Is he the one that's taking over that center spot?
No. Tate Ratledge.
Oh, Ratledge is taking it over.
Yeah, Tate Ratledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's who they drafted this past year.
Okay, I got you. I was just looking at their depth chart, and I didn't see him. I didn't see that name on here. So that just tells me that the NFL hasn't updated their depth charts or anything. They must still be using their old depth charts.
Could be, but what are your thoughts though on him calling a career?
Well, they're going to call it. I mean, it's been long, and one thing about the center position, you take a lot of abuse. I mean, you got to get the ball to the quarterback, come up. I mean, it's a lot of things your body goes through. So I think he had a good career. Unfortunately, I hate to see him leave the NFL and not have a ring on his finger. I mean, unfortunately for Detroit, they just had that bad cursed luck. They got a great product. Just like they had the great product many a times before, but they just have not been able to get the ultimate prize. And it just sucks to see, all these great players leaving the game in Detroit, but yet haven't gotten the ring, right? Megatron was another one, right? Obviously, Barry was another one, right? And even to the point where what's his name left to go be with the Rams, Matt Stafford. Even he had to leave the damn Detroit Lions to go to the Rams to get a ring. I think he was smart enough to says, look, here's the deal. I ain't never getting a ring if I stay here. I better take my happy butt to a place where I can get a ring before I call it a career. And he did. And it's just saying that obviously people, that other players weren't able to do that with the long career that they've had. It's sad to see him go out with injuries in terms of forcing him into retirement. But I don't feel bad for him. That man got mega dollars. He living a good life.
Yeah. Hey, and like I said, good career overall, and I'm sure he'll be back. I don't know about number retire or anything like that at the stadium, but he'll probably he'll be one of those guys that was a fan favorite. Everyone loved him. He'll show up and for halftime or something like that, get the crowd pumped, and like I say, good career, Jay. Made some money, made a lot of money, and all before he was 30. So hats off to him, man. Hope you enjoy the rest of your life post football and enjoy doing whatever your next profession is. And with that, Jim, we're gonna go to college baseball. Wow, all of our teams have kind of sucked this year in college baseball. Jay, Georgia got knocked out. The other team from my state, Georgia Tech, got knocked out. And Jay, there's a Texas team left in the college baseball tournament, but it's not the Texas Longhorns. It's
is it TCU?
No. Hold on. It is the UTSA Roadrunners. TCU was eliminated.
So it is still Texas, but it's a division of it. So it's University of Texas, San Antonio.
Yep.
Wow. So they're still in, huh? Okay. Go on with your bad selves.
Let me look at the brackets here. I'm actually going to pull this up on the screen so everyone can see it. Just kind of look at who all is in, who all is out. They're still on the regional side, right? So we're still very early into this bracket this season. But man, a lot of upsets already, Jay. A lot of teams who were highly ranked, not there anymore. So let me get this here so we can see who all is left in the national regional. Jay, you see number 1 Vanderbilt was eliminated in a 4-team set that had ETSU, Wright State, and Louisville. The only other team I know on there advanced, and that is the Louisville Cardinals. Still, Jay, the number 1 seed already kicked out in the regional bracket, not even the super regional. So, and also this is double elimination. You can see at the top there. So you have to lose twice if you want to get kicked out. And Vanderbilt, they lost. A big upset there. And the Hattiesburg one, Jay, number 16 Southern Miss and Miami. Those are the only 2 teams left in it. They're going to play, I believe, later on today to determine who's going to win that region. Wow. Alabama and Columbia have already been eliminated from that. Tallahassee region, no upsets here. Florida State advances. They defeat B. Cook, Mississippi State. I think this is doing Cookman, and it looks like Northeastern. No shock there. In the next round, in the Corvallis, we're seeing Oregon State take on USC. That's going to be later on today, I believe. TCU and St. Mary's have already been eliminated from that, so that will be determined, I believe, later on today. Also, matchup here, UNC, the Tar Heels, taking on Oklahoma in the Chapel Hill region. Holy Cross and Nebraska already eliminated. They'll be facing Arizona, who survived in their pool against Utah Valley, Cal Poly, and number 12 ranked Oregon. In the Conway region, Jay, Fairfield got eliminated, as well as East Carolina and Florida. Coastal Carolina, they've advanced to number 13 seed. We got a good matchup here, Jay, in the super regional. Number 4 Auburn versus number 13 Coastal Carolina. Auburn, they defeated Central Connecticut, maybe NC State and Stetson. That's on one side of the bracket. Over to the other, we've got UCLA facing the aforementioned UTSA. Number 2, Texas got eliminated, as well as Houston Christian, I believe, Kansas State, and then the Los Angeles one, Fresno State, Arizona State, and UC Irvine all lost in that one. In the Oxford Regional, number 10 Ole Miss survived. They defeated Western Kentucky and Georgia Tech, but Murray State is still alive, Jay. They could get an upset here over the Rebels at their home field, which would be insane. In the Athens region, team lost a home field team, Georgia, number 7 in the rankings. They lost to Binghamton, Oklahoma State. Duke ended up winning that regional. So they'll be facing the winner of either Ole Miss or Murray State. In Baton Rouge, our boy Phil is happy. His LSU Tigers still alive, but they got to beat Little Rock today. Number 6 CJ versus Little Rock. So we'll see what happens. DBU and Rhode Island were eliminated. In the Clemson region, Jay, Clemson got knocked out at home. Number 11. Kentucky, USC Upstate, West Virginia, the Mountaineers moving on into the Super Regionals. And it looks like we got one more here, 2 more regionals. Knoxville 14, Tennessee taking on Wake Forest later on today. Cincinnati, Miami, Ohio got eliminated. Number 3, Arkansas, the Razorbacks, I believe are the highest ranked team in the Super Regionals at this point. They defeated Kansas, North Dakota State, and Creighton. So they will be in there. So it looks like the highest seeds we have in the Super Regionals are Arkansas 3, Auburn at 4, Coastal Carolina 13. None of the ranked teams up here. We have number 9 for the state. UCLA coming in at number 15. So, I mean, Jay, there's only it looks like this side of the bracket, there's not a whole lot of teams that a lot of the big name teams, right? The SEC had a ton of teams in this tournament. I believe it's 8 or 9. There's not a whole lot. A lot of them already been knocked out. So college baseball, of course, and having its March Madness, it's a big tournament. It's always fun to see the women's bracket, the softball tournament also going on. We'll talk about that some other day. But just we'll talk about the men's side today, just with all the crazy upsets, Jay. The one that I know that I saw the highlights of today. It was Georgia against Oklahoma State. Georgia was at home, right, in the Athens Regional. And, Jay, they were up by 2 runs going into the 9th, okay? They gave up 2-run home, and they gave up 2-run home run, and then followed up by giving up another 2-run home run to lose it. So you're up by 2, and then you lose by 2. In a cruel kind of twist of fate for that team who had a lot of high aspirations, a lot of really good players, great coach in Wes Johnson who they locked up before the tournament. So they could not get out of the first round though. But that's what we like about these big college tournaments, right? There's unpredictability and a lot of fun though. A lot of fun if you're a baseball fan.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of teams in there. Michigan, Texas. That I really, Alabama, I really thought would do something. And UTSA was not one of those that I thought would be still in there. And the fact that they're still in there, that's amazing. So now I'm going to have, since that's the only Texas team left, I guess I'll be pulling for UTSA to get there. So, and LSU, man, I'm surprised, obviously LSU's still in there. And I think LSU they always usually have a pretty good baseball team. Them, Mississippi State, they usually have really good teams. So we'll see what happens from there. But Arkansas, man, I knew Arkansas would be in there. Arkansas really does have a really good squad over there. They're pitching, hitting the whole nine. I mean, so we'll see what happens, man. But definitely, Texas is out of it. I really had Texas going farther than that. That blows my mind a little bit.
Yep, but just to look at all the games today as well as their times. So coming up right now at this moment. 3 o'clock Eastern, North Carolina, number 5, taking on Oklahoma. 6 o'clock, we got Murray State and Ole Miss. Followed up also at 6, Southern Cal, which is USC, going against Oregon State. We've also got Wake Forest and Tennessee. So 6 o'clock slate, Jay, has 3 good games there. 2 at the 9 o'clock hour, Eastern Standard Time. LSU and Little Rock, and then finally Miami, Florida, taking on Southern Miss. But right now, like I said, North Carolina and Oklahoma just started. It's 3:01 on the dot, so they just started a minute ago. They're probably still heading back to the dugout after the national anthem. So looking forward to see how all that's going to happen today. And, of course, throughout the rest of the week, we'll provide updates. But, Jay, any final thoughts here before we end the show today?
Yeah, my final thoughts are Astros. Let's get the dub today. Mariners, please take the L so I can get back in the first place and better about myself.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that. And for me, Jay, I was at the Braves game the other day, right? 1:35 start, nice hot Georgia day. Got a little sunburn on me here, but I didn't think it'd be that hot. It was like 75 degrees, but the sun was hitting me right in the head. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me! But
and you didn't even have a hat on. I was like, he's gonna be.
I had a hat on. I had a hat. I bought a hat. I don't have it with me, but I bought a hat at the club store.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So I did eventually get a hat. I'm like, it's too hot for this. But we lost Jay. Garrett Crochet was a hell of a pitcher. Coming into the game, I think he was 4-4 in the year, Jay, but he had like a 2.70 ERA, which is insane.
Yeah.
Which tells you what the main issue with the team is. It ain't the pitching for him, whenever he's on the mound. All the runs, Jay, we were in the first inning. So I saw the action as soon as we sat down, and that was it. The rest of it was just a bunch of goose eggs. Obviously, you saw a couple of hits and whatnot, but I mean, all the runs were scored in the first and the bottom of the first. That was it. Atlanta, Bryce Elder, rough first inning. Other than that, he pitched great. Got up some tough jams. Looked good, right? He hadn't pitched a whole lot this season. I believe it was his 8th start, I believe, in the year, because he's kind of been going up and down from the minors. Off today, got a regroup today, and then I believe we're facing the Diamondbacks for a 3-game set here. I believe we're going to be on the road, but man, I think we're at this point 6 games under 500, which is kind of in the tail of the season for the Braves. 4th place in the NL East, not a good feeling. Washington is doing better right now, Jake. Washington.
But the Nationals,
like I said,
that tells me something.
The Nationals aren't great by any means. They're not like, you know what I mean? They're not even at 500, I don't think. But I'll continue to say it until something gets done. The main issues with this team is the shortstop position. It's the pitching, more so it's our bullpen, as well as that, 3 through 5 starter, give or take. And I mean, it's also just kind of bench piece. We don't have any big bench, pop off the bench or anything like that. It's just some issues, and it's all stuff that wasn't addressed this offseason. Obviously they're banking on Strider and Acuna giving them a lift, but they've both been back. Acuna now for about a week or so.
Right.
And he's done good. He's done really well. He didn't have a good performance yesterday, but overall he's hit, I think, 3 home runs in the last week. So off to a good start. And for Strider, he had he came back, then he got hurt for like 2 weeks, then he came back. And like I say, he's not looked all-star like or anything, but he is getting better, getting his reps back. But yeah, they're definitely going to have to do something at trade deadline if they want to compete this year, because the Mets aren't running away with the division by any means necessary. The Phillies are, they lost Alvarado, I think for 60 or 80 games. Oh, I forgot we had Jerks Profar, Jay. That's how little he contributed to us. Which that kind of feels like the start of everything that happened. You know what I mean? The start of just the bad year, because that was 2 weeks or so into the season, he got suspended for the season. It has to be All-Star break, I think, is when he got suspended until. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But good time yesterday. Like I said, tough loss, but overall, just it was a nice time to spend a Sunday at the ballpark. Can't beat that. But unfortunately, couldn't get the win. I guess really good pitching. Really, I knew it was going to be a tough matchup, dude. Derek Crochet is he reminds me a bit of Randy Johnson, because he's a tall, lanky, white dude who just can chuck the ball like crazy. I think he's top 5, if not for sure top 10 in terms of strikeouts, at least in the AL side. Might be both, but really good pitcher. Nice to always see that, but fortunately cannot get the dub today. Hopefully that can change after a day off today for travel, and we can get the win. Hopefully turn the corner, like I've been saying, all these weeks now as we get about 60 games into the season. But with that, we will wrap up the show here today. Jay, appreciate it as always here, of course, on the afternoon show. Guys, if you like the show, like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Go live each and every single week here on the channel. Check us out Facebook, or Twitter, TikTok, or YouTube, Twitch, anywhere you can find us is in our link tree in the description. So check us out there. And until next time, tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern, watch us here on the afternoon show. And don't forget, if you've seen our social media today, 6 o'clock Eastern tonight, we've got a video coming out, special video. Me and Jared are going to be working on it as soon as we wrap up here. Coming out 6 o'clock, talking about the NIL deals, and is it hurting amateur sports? Is it killing the sport that we all played growing up? We don't want to give away too much. You got to watch it in a couple hours. So it'll be on our YouTube exclusively, so you got to check it out over there. But you can find the link across all the other platforms. Don't you worry. But until tonight, 6 o'clock, check out that video and check out the afternoon show for the rest of the week, 2 o'clock Eastern. I've been your producer and host, Logan Landers, and of course with Jay McLovin, co-host, co-founder here on the channel. Take it easy, everyone. Enjoy your Mondays, and we'll see you again on Tuesday.